One of the defining characteristics of sneaker collecting is the community that birthed an entire culture. That culture would eventually go mainstream and become a behemoth. A different trajectory unfolded in the land of the rising sun. While sneaker culture is expansive in Japan, it remains inherently diverse, safeguarded by cultural mechanisms that resist homogenization and preserve subcultural integrity. What's up everyone, I'm Reggie Casual, and today we're exploring just that. How Japan preserved classic sneaker culture and why it continues to thrive even within an oversaturated, globalized market. Let's get it. We all know the story of sneakers and their culture, or at the very least we're familiar with its trajectory, even from the periphery. Succinctly, its origins trace back to the 1970s, with pioneers like Puma, Converse, and others laying the foundational groundwork. If you're an OG, then Clyde the Glide Frazier and Dr. J are icons whose historically significant sneakers required no formal introduction. The 1980s heralded the rise of Jordans, and the 1990s witnessed the proliferation of signature sponsorship models, spearheaded of course by the enduring legacy of Michael Jeffrey Jordan. By the 2000s, the entire scene underwent commodification. This shift catalyzed limited edition drops, fueled the resale economy, and birthed corporate-driven hype machines. Or as Complex aptly put it, sneaker culture was born out of rebellion, individuality, and community, but it's now often driven by profit margins and artificial scarcity. However, in Japan, an alternative paradigm emerged. Companies like Nike, while recognizing the immense potential of the Japanese market, discovered that Western marketing tactics were not universally translatable to this distinct cultural landscape. Their solution? Enlist the expertise of Japanese collectors and tastemakers, individuals whose cultural fluency and curatorial sensibilities bridge the gap between global commerce and localized authenticity. The Japanese market, shaped by aesthetic principles such as mono no aware, the pathos of things, developed an inherently different relationship with sneaker culture compared to its Western counterparts. But wait, what exactly is mono no aware? It's a sophisticated aesthetic concept referring to a deep, gentle melancholy or wistful awareness of the impermanence of things, coupled with a quiet appreciation for their transient beauty. It embodies the recognition that all things are fleeting, which paradoxically renders them more precious. You've likely encountered this sentiment subtly portrayed in films that have to do with Japan, like this one. Perfect. Or more directly through natural phenomena like sakura season or cherry blossom season. Now for the uninitiated, sakura or cherry blossom season is remarkably brief in Japan. The blossoms reach their peak for no more than like 3 weeks, contingent upon environmental conditions. If it's windy, it's gone in like 2 weeks. Sometimes 1.5. And every year, this ephemeral bloom becomes a national event with hundreds of thousands of Japanese citizens and tourists alike partaking in hanami, or flower viewing. This cultural ethos extends even to something as materialistic as sneakers. Japanese collectors often privilege authenticity over transient hype, fostering a profound reverence for craftsmanship that encompasses design integrity, historical context, and artisanal quality. You get the deal. Hiroshi Fujiwara once articulated this succinctly. He said, "In Japan, fashion isn't about consumption, it's about curation." Thus, sneakers evolved from mere commodities into integral artifacts within Japan's broader fashion culture. Birthed out of Tokyo's Urahara scene and sustained by independent boutiques in Osaka, sneaker culture flourished. This movement was spearheaded by luminaries like Hiroshi Fujiwara, whose work with fragment design seamlessly merged sneaker culture with high fashion without compromising its authenticity. Visionaries like Nigo and Jun Takahashi transcended trend cycles, recontextualizing classic sneaker silhouettes through innovative design languages that both honored and redefined tradition. Entrepreneurs such as Hidefumi Homyo, the founder of Atmos, further institutionalized sneaker culture in Japan. Atmos grew from a niche retailer into an influential global hub, emphasizing narrative-driven collaborations and community-centered engagements over commodified hype. Nike, ever the astute corporate entity, recognized an opportunity in Japan. So what did they do? They leaned into Japan's cultural proclivity for preservation and storytelling. They introduced high-profile Japanese exclusive models, encouraged bespoke customization through third-party retailers, and notably delayed legal confrontations with brands like BAPE for its Air Force One reinterpretation. And Nike launched CO.JP, or Concept Japan, a line dedicated to limited edition, region-specific releases that quickly attained global cult status. While early Japanophiles scoured the country for rare anime tapes and collectibles, a parallel subculture was burgeoning. International sneaker enthusiasts traveling to Japan in search of exclusive and elusive CO.JP models. This phenomenon transformed sneaker collection into a form of cultural tourism. And CO.JP's success was so profound that it effectively laid the blueprint for today's global sneaker collaborative models. That's right. You can thank Japan for not only preserving sneaker culture, but also amplifying its global footprint, particularly through the collaborative ethos that defines contemporary sneaker releases. And it makes sense. Japan is a society deeply rooted in collaborative practices, both within and beyond the realm of fashion. This inclination fosters opportunities to reinterpret, reimagine, and innovate from diverse perspectives. As Nigo eloquently put it, Japanese street culture has always been about reinterpretation, taking the old and making it new without losing its soul. Over time, we've observed the Western sneaker community attempting to reclaim this foundational ethos. However, this resurgence is fragmented. Gone are the days when passionate debates flourished on niche forums. Today, factors such as corporate volatility, market saturation, and the ascendance of independent labels have decentralized the landscape. Oversaturation, speculative hype, resale-driven economies, and celebrity endorsements have all but contributed to the commodification of sneaker culture. Now, this shift has engendered a sense of disillusionment within the community, often manifesting as apathy or just a downright celebration towards the decline of once venerated brands. In contrast, Japan's sneaker culture has maintained a sort of equilibrium. While not immune to commercial pressures, it has resisted the extremes that destabilize Western markets. This resilience is underpinned by cultural imperatives rooted in mono no aware, fostering a preservationist ethos that prioritizes appreciation over exploitation. For instance, Japanese sneaker conventions emphasize connoisseurship rather than just mere transactions or flipping. The philosophy of kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery, finds resonance in sneaker restoration practices, where the act of mending imbues objects with renewed value. Boutiques like Soma and Shimokitazawa specialize in vintage models, celebrated not despite their wear, but because of it. Organizations like the 95ers have undertaken archival projects, meticulously cataloging Japan-exclusive sneaker releases from 1995 to 2022 in comprehensive bilingual volumes that serve as both historical records and cultural artifacts. And what's more, they don't make that widely available. There was only 1,000 of these things that were ever printed, keeping the culture very much exclusive. You can go to their website though and get an email just in case they release more of these things. But this is exactly how the sneaker community in Japan operates. Not everybody is going to get in the gate, and that is by design. Such endeavors underscore a fundamental truth. In Japan, sneaker preservation is not a niche pursuit, but a cultural imperative. As Shinsuke Takizawa of Neighborhood poignantly observed, in Japan, we don't discard the old because it's old, we keep it because it adds character. To that, I would add, and because we recognize that all things are fleeting. Until then, we cherish their presence. Not me in particular, I'm not Japanese, I'm just a guy that decided to live here for an extended period where it is basically like my home now. But I don't count myself amongst them. I'm just an observer, a good observer, but still, I'm an observer. In any case, this sentiment encapsulates not merely the ethos surrounding products, but the very essence of cultural continuity. Thus, Japan has emerged as both steward and innovator, sustaining sneaker culture's legacy while embracing contemporary evolutions. In Japan, sneaker culture isn't merely surviving, it's thriving. Not because of hype, but because of reverence. Reverence for history, craftsmanship, and the narrative stitched into every single soul. And that's what I got for you. But the conversation continues. My question to you is, do you believe Japan's sneaker approach to sneaker culture could work in other countries? Or is it something that is uniquely tied to Japanese values? Or how about another question? Is sneaker culture about the hype, the history, or the community for you? Where do you stand? Or give us suggestions on what we should cover next in the broader context of Japanese fashion or anything else. Let it all be known in the comments. Join us on Patreon for extended, unfiltered commentary on topics just like this, as well as other benefits. Be sure to like, sub, and turn on notifications if you found this content valuable or entertaining to you. But most importantly, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international fashion, culture, and business from Tokyo. It's your boy, and keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. And I will see you guys in a minute.